This is the first part of a 3-part tutorial which is going to show you how you can reskin assets for the UK Train Sim freeware packs. We're mostly going to be using free software, so we're going to use GIMP to edit the images, RSkinning to extract the image data from the textures, and RWTools, which requires just a small donation to receive a fully licensed copy. We're going to use that tool to clone default assets so that we can reskin them. The first thing we need to do is set up our folder structure for our asset pack. The asset packs are going to use a very specific folder structure which will ensure it's as easy as possible for end users to make use of the pack, and also ensures that each contributor has a unique folder where all the assets are held. So we're going to create a developer folder called UKTS_FP, a product folder which will be relevant to the pack that you're contributing to. In our case, that's housing. Finally, we'll make another folder within there which it will be based on a unique ID. This unique ID needs to be very short, something like 3 characters long, certainly no more than 5. And I'm going to use my initials, so my unique ID will be JN. So let's create that folder structure now. So here's my assets folder within Railworks. So we click New Folder and then enter UKTS_FP. Inside there we then create our product folder. For this pack, that's housing. And inside there we create my unique folder called JN. So that's the first part of our folder structure configured. Now we're going to start up RWTools so that we can clone our default asset. When using RWTools, you must make sure that you run it as an administrator. So you can do this by simply right-clicking the icon and selecting Run as Administrator, or we can select Properties, followed by Advanced, and check this box here. This only applies, by the way, to Windows 7 or Windows Vista. So we have RWTools running, and we select Edit Assets and then Asset Editor. Just resize that to bring it into view. So now we need to find the default asset that we're going to clone. Most default assets are stored inside the Kuju folder, and then Rail Simulator. We're going to be looking for houses, so they're inside Scenery, and then Buildings. So we simply click the Add to List button to tell RWTools to find all the assets within that folder. Now that we have our list of assets, we can choose which one we want to clone. I'm going to clone the semi-detached white 2-storey house, so I select it in the list, select Edit Assets, and then Clone Scenery for reskinning. When we do this, a new dialog will appear that asks us for 3 pieces of information. First of all, we need to give it a new file name. Use something appropriate for the type of reskin you're creating, so if it's a stone house, call it Stonehouse 01 or something like that. I'm going to call mine Demo Reskin. Then we need to give it a new internal name. An internal name is held in the blueprint and is what's shown to the user in the asset selection panel. Here's where our unique ID comes into play again. If we go back to the guide for contributors, we can see that section 6.3 explains how we must name all assets. Again, this is to ensure that they can be found easily by the end user in the selection panel, and also that every asset has a unique name. If more than one asset has the same name, then Railworks will ignore one of the assets and it won't be shown in the list. For this reason, we again use our unique ID in the blueprint or internal name. So for me, this is going to be FPJN demo reskin. Finally, I need to tell RWTools where I want it to clone the asset. The best way to do this is to open up our Windows Explorer window again, and then we're going to go inside the JN folder, and before we copy the path we need to replicate the folder structure from the asset we're cloning. So the default asset was in Rail Simulator, Scenery, Buildings. So let's replicate that structure now by creating a folder called Scenery, and inside there another one called Buildings. Now the quickest way to copy that path into RWTools is to simply select in this address bar here and then press Ctrl and C on the keyboard. This copies the path into memory, and then we can paste that into the folder name there, and all we have to do is press OK. RWTools has now cloned the asset, so let's see if it's in our folder, and there we go, we have our new blueprint or binary file. We have the shape file, and inside textures we have all the textures that we will be extracting the image data from in part 2 of this tutorial. That's the end of this part of the tutorial.